Commander Raj Patel stared at the holographic display, his weathered face illuminated by the swirling red warning indicators. "Run the atmospheric analysis again," he ordered, though he already knew the result wouldn't change. "Analysis complete," reported Arya, the ship's AI. "Atmospheric composition remains consistent with previous scans. Oxygen levels 23%, nitrogen 71%, with significant concentrations of chlorine and fluorine. Temperature averages 50 degrees Celsius. Classification as a Class 3 habitable world is definitively incorrect." Dr. Kira Yoshida, the team's xenobiologist, pulled up her own readings. "This isn't just incorrect, Commander. This is impossible. The chemical signatures we're seeing, this planet should be classified as a Class 0 Deathworld. The fact that it wasn't." She left the implication hanging. "Someone wanted this world to appear unremarkable," Security Chief Maya Jackson finished, her cybernetic eye whirring as it analyzed the planet's surface. "Question is, why?" The answer came from Dr. Hassan Al-Rahman, their geologist. "Because of this." He projected another hologram, showing mineral compositions. "The entire northern continent is rich with quantum crystals. Pure ones. Worth more than most planetary systems." The bridge of the research vessel Curiosity fell silent as the implications sank in. Quantum crystals were the backbone of modern FTL travel. A deposit this size could shift the balance of power in the galaxy. "Well," Raj said, breaking the silence, "that explains the creative classification. Nothing says, nothing to see here, quite like labeling a Deathworld as perfectly habitable." "Commander," Arya interrupted, "I'm detecting artificial structures on the surface. And energy signatures. We're not alone." The crew gathered around the main viewport as their ship descended through the caustic atmosphere. The landscape below would have given Earth's most dangerous predators nightmares. Crystalline formations jutted from the ground like massive daggers, while vegetation that seemed to be made of living metal swayed in winds hot enough to scald human skin. "Movement detected," Maya reported, her cybernetic eye zooming in. "Multiple signatures. Some underground, others. I can't tell if they're alive or mechanical." "Both, actually," Kira said, studying her readings. "We're looking at biomechanical life forms. Evolution took a fascinating turn here. The hostile environment forced a merger between organic life and naturally occurring metallic compounds. A massive shape burst from behind a crystal formation, moving with impossible speed for its size. The creature was a nightmare fusion of organic muscle and metallic plating, with multiple limbs ending in crystalline claws that could probably tear through their ship's hull. "Classification update," Arya announced with what almost sounded like concern. "Local fauna appears to be significantly more advanced than reported. Survival probability calculations are suboptimal." "When are they ever optimal?" Raj asked with a grim smile. "All right team, this is clearly a first contact situation with a side of corporate conspiracy. Someone wanted to keep this world's true nature hidden, and I want to know why. More importantly, I want to know who's already down there." "Commander," Hassan called out, "I'm picking up some sort of transmission. It's weak, but it's definitely artificial. And, it's not using any known protocol." "Location?" "That massive crater to the north. The one surrounded by those spiral crystal formations." Raj studied the crater through the viewport. Something about those crystals seemed almost deliberate. Like they'd been arranged. "Anyone else getting the feeling we just stumbled into something much bigger than a misclassified planet?" Maya asked. "Oh, definitely," Kira agreed, already prepping her research gear. "The real question is whether we'll live long enough to figure out what it is." "Only one way to find out," Raj decided. "Arya, begin landing procedures. Let's introduce ourselves to this lovely Deathworld and whoever's trying to keep it secret." As the Curiosity descended toward the crater, none of them noticed the way the crystalline formations seemed to pulse with an inner light, nor how the biomechanical creatures gathered in formation, moving with an intelligence that suggested they might not be the apex predators on this world after all. The truth about this world and why someone wanted to hide it was about to change everything they thought they knew about humanity's place in the galaxy. If they survived long enough to discover it. The landing struts of the Curiosity hadn't even finished deploying when the first tremor hit. It wasn't subtle, a violent shuddering that sent crystalline fragments raining down from the crater walls. "Please tell me that was just turbulence," Hassan said, knowing full well it wasn't. "Seismic activity," Arya reported. "But the pattern is irregular. Almost rhythmic." Maya's cybernetic eye whirred as she scanned the surrounding crystal formations. "Those aren't natural formations. Look at the spacing, the angles. Someone built this." Kira was already suited up in her environmental gear, triple-checking the seals. The suit was rated for extreme environments, but this world seemed determined to redefine what extreme meant. The real question is, are they still here? Movement. Maya's warning came just as something massive erupted from the ground near their landing site. It was like watching a metallic flower bloom, if flowers were made of razor-sharp crystal and living metal. The structure unfurled, revealing what was unmistakably an entrance. "Well," Raj said dryly, "I guess that answers the 'are they still here' question." The biomechanical creatures they'd spotted earlier had formed a perimeter around their ship, but they weren't attacking. They were waiting. "Arya, analysis?" Raj requested, watching the creatures through the viewport. The entities appear to be operating as a coordinated unit. Their biological components show signs of genetic engineering, while their mechanical elements utilize the same crystalline material we detected in the mineral deposits. They're guards, Maya realized. Someone engineered them to protect this place. Hassan's instruments were going crazy. "Commander, you need to see this. The quantum crystal concentrations. They're not just deposits. They form a network, like circuitry, and it all leads to..." He gestured at the opened entrance. "A facility," Kira finished. "Someone built an entire facility using quantum crystals as both power source and building material." "But quantum crystals are incredibly unstable," Hassan objected. "The energy required to maintain structural integrity alone would be..." "Precisely why this world was classified as harmless," a new voice interrupted. Everyone turned to see a hologram materializing in the center of the bridge. The figure was humanoid, but clearly artificial, its form composed of intricate geometric patterns that shifted and flowed like liquid crystal. "I am Nexus," the hologram continued. "This facility's guardian intelligence. You should not be here, but since you are, you have a choice to make." Raj stepped forward. "Before we make any choices, how about you tell us what this place is?" The hologram's patterns swirled faster. "This is the archive, one of 7 constructed by the predecessors. We are its guardians, tasked with protecting knowledge too dangerous to be lost, yet too dangerous to be found." "The predecessors?" Kira asked, her scientific curiosity overriding her caution. "The precursor species mentioned in galactic myths." "Not myths," Nexus corrected. "History. History that powerful entities have worked very hard to erase. The same entities that would have this world appear unremarkable." Maya's tactical training kicked in. "You're saying someone in the Galactic Council knows about this place. Some know of its existence. None know its purpose. Those who have discovered this place have either joined us in our vigil or..." The hologram gestured to the biomechanical creatures outside. "Became part of our defense system." "That's not ominous at all," Hassan muttered. "Your choice," Nexus continued, "is simple. Leave now, forget this world exists, or enter the archive and accept that your lives as you knew them are over. What lies within cannot be unlearned." Raj looked at his team. They'd come seeking answers about a misclassified planet and stumbled onto something that clearly went far beyond corporate greed or political maneuvering. The entities approaching your vessel require an answer, Nexus added. They are not programmed for patience. Commander, Arya interjected, I'm detecting energy buildup in the quantum crystal network. Whatever this archive is, it's powering up. Kira stepped forward. We're scientists. Discovering truth is literally our job description. Maya nodded, her cybernetic eye already mapping possible defensive positions. Running away from answers isn't really humanity's style anyway. Hassan? Raj asked. The geologist shrugged. Those quantum crystal formations are literally impossible according to current physics. I need to know how they work. Well, Nexus, Raj turned back to the hologram, looks like we're choosing door number 2. Show us what's so important that someone turned a whole planet into its security system. The hologram's patterns stabilized into something almost like a smile. Follow the Guardians. And remember, the archive does not merely contain knowledge. It adapts its contents to those who enter. What you find within will be shaped by what you bring with you. As the team prepared to disembark, the biomechanical creatures formed an honor guard leading to the entrance. The crystal formations pulsed with increasing intensity, and deep beneath their feet, ancient machinery awakened. They were about to discover why some knowledge was kept hidden on a world designed to kill anyone who sought it. And perhaps more importantly, they were about to learn why humanity's peculiar evolution made them uniquely suited to be its recipients. The descent into the archive felt like entering another world entirely. The crystalline walls pulsed with internal light, creating patterns that seemed almost like flowing text. These markings, Kira said, her hand hovering near but not touching the wall, they're responding to our presence. Changing as we move. It's reading us, Arya's voice came through their suit comms. I'm detecting complex scanning frequencies. Quantum-level analysis of our biological and technological signatures. The biomechanical guardians flanked them, their crystalline components resonating with the same light as the walls. The passage gradually widened into a vast chamber that defied the laws of physics as they knew them. That's impossible, Hassan breathed. The chamber extended both above and below them, seemingly infinite in both directions. Platforms of pure energy connected various levels, while streams of data flowed through the crystalline walls like rivers of light. Welcome to the primary archive node, Nexus materialized beside them. What you see is a physical manifestation of the quantum network. Each level contains knowledge from a different era of the predecessor's civilization. Maya's cybernetic eye was working overtime, trying to map the space. The architecture keeps shifting. It's like the whole place is alive. In a manner of speaking, it is, Nexus confirmed. The archive adapts its physical structure to facilitate access to relevant information. Your presence has already triggered several adaptations. Raj noticed something odd about the flowing data streams. Those patterns, some of them look almost like DNA sequences. Correct, Commander Patel. The archive has recognized humanity's unique evolutionary path. Your species evolved on what most would consider a deathworld, yet you not only survived but thrived. This makes you compatible. A violent tremor suddenly shook the chamber. The Guardians immediately moved into defensive positions. Nexus, Raj steadied himself against a crystal formation. What's happening? The hologram's patterns became erratic. We are under attack. The entities I mentioned, those who wish to keep the archive hidden, they have followed you. The chamber's walls shifted, revealing massive view screens. They showed ships entering the atmosphere, sleek, black vessels that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The Shadowed Consortium, Nexus explained. They believe themselves the inheritors of the predecessor's legacy. They have spent millennia suppressing evidence of other compatible species. Compatible for what? Kira demanded. Another tremor, stronger this time. Sections of the chamber began to seal themselves off, the crystal structures flowing like liquid to create barriers. For ascension, Nexus replied. The predecessors did not vanish. They evolved beyond physical form. The archive contains the key to their transformation, but only species with the right evolutionary adaptations can survive the process. Let me guess, Maya said, checking her weapons, humanity's Deathworld evolution makes us candidates. Precisely. Your cellular structure, your adaptive capabilities, your very DNA carries markers the predecessors engineered into themselves before their ascension. Hassan was studying the defensive barriers forming around them. The quantum crystals, they're not just power sources or building materials. They're some kind of evolutionary catalyst, aren't they? Again, correct. They are both tool and test. Those who can survive their presence demonstrate compatibility. Your species not only survives but appears to resonate with them. Another impact rocked the chamber. Through the view screens, they watched as the consortium ships deployed what looked like living shadows onto the planet's surface. The Void Hunters, Nexus's form flickered. The consortium's elite extraction force. They will not stop until they reach the archive's core. Why not just destroy the facility? Maya asked. Because they need it intact. The knowledge here is encoded in ways that require the quantum crystal network to decode. Destruction would mean losing everything. Raj watched as the facility's guardians mobilized, streaming out of hidden chambers to meet the threat. Those ships broke through the atmosphere like it was nothing. They've been here before. They know how to handle this world's defenses. Yes, Nexus confirmed. But they have never encountered a compatible species within the archive before. This changes protocols. The hologram gestured, and sections of the wall peeled away, revealing caches of advanced technology. These are predecessor defense systems. They will recognize your biological signatures now that the archive has accepted you. Accepted us for what exactly? Kira asked, even as she found herself drawn to what looked like a suit of crystalline armor. To make a choice, Nexus replied. Help us defend the archive, learn its secrets, and potentially follow the path of the predecessors, or watch as the consortium erases humanity's chance at ascension. The chamber shook again, and through the view screens, they could see the Void Hunters approaching, moving like living darkness across the crystalline landscape. Well, Raj said, reaching for one of the crystalline weapons, humanity does have a history of being really bad at walking away from fights we're told we can't win. As if in response, the weapon came to life in his hands, its crystal components bonding with his suit's systems. Around them, the archive's defenses continued to evolve, incorporating elements of human technology and tactics that it pulled from their minds. They were about to find out if humanity's stubborn survival instincts could stand against beings that had spent millennia erasing civilizations from history. The first Void Hunter they encountered was nothing like what they expected. It moved like liquid darkness, but within its shifting form, Kira's sensors detected something impossible: negative biological readings. They're not just wearing void tech, she reported, the crystalline armor she'd bonded with adjusting to her movements. They've somehow inverted their life signatures. They're literally living antimatter contained in humanoid form. The consortium's ultimate adaptation, Nexus's voice echoed through their neural links, another gift from the archive's technology. They chose a different path than the predecessors. Instead of ascending beyond physical form, they learned to exist as living contradictions of natural law. A blast of pure darkness struck the barrier near them, eating away at the quantum crystal structure like acid through paper. Maya's cybernetic eye interfaced with her new weapons, analyzing attack patterns. They're not just attacking, she realized. They're infecting the crystal network. Converting it to their own frequency. Hassan's geological expertise, enhanced by the archive's knowledge, saw the bigger picture. The whole facility is built on quantum resonance. If they corrupt enough of the crystal network, the archive will become incompatible with organic life, Nexus confirmed. Only void-adapted beings would be able to access its knowledge. Raj fired his crystalline weapon, its beam splitting the darkness of a Void Hunter, causing its form to temporarily destabilize. So how did humanity end up compatible with predecessor tech while these beings had to remake themselves into living paradoxes? The answer came as they fought their way through the archive's levels, each chamber revealing more of its secrets through the neural link. Kira saw it first, her xenobiologist's mind putting the pieces together. Earth, she breathed. It wasn't random evolution that made us compatible. Earth itself was an experiment. Images flowed through their shared consciousness, predecessors, visiting Earth eons ago, subtly guiding human evolution through environmental pressures rather than direct manipulation. Your world's harsh conditions, its deadly flora and fauna, its extreme environmental variations, all were carefully calculated, Nexus explained. Humanity was shaped by challenge, not control. This is what the consortium cannot accept. A massive tremor shook the facility. Through their neural link, they felt the crystal network screaming as void corruption spread through its lower levels. They're not just trying to take the archive, Hassan realized, watching the infection patterns. They're trying to rewrite its fundamental nature. Change the very definition of compatible life. Maya's tactical analysis, merged with the archive's strategic systems, saw the pattern. If they succeed, they'll use this place to force their version of evolution on every species they encounter. Convert all life to void-adapted forms. The neural link suddenly flooded their minds with urgent data, recordings from the predecessor's final days. They saw civilizations falling to darkness, worlds being converted, and a desperate race to preserve the knowledge of natural evolution. The archive isn't just a library, Raj understood now. It's a seed bank for the future of organic life itself. Yes, Nexus's form became clearer, more defined. The predecessors foresaw this conflict. They knew that eventually, a species would evolve naturally to the point of compatibility. That is why they created this place, why they hid it on a world that would kill any beings not ready for its knowledge. Another blast rocked the chamber, and through their neural link, they felt the void corruption reaching critical levels in the lower archive. We're losing containment, Maya reported. Once the corruption reaches the central crystal matrix. Then we don't let it, Raj decided. The neural link connected him not just to his team and the archive, but to the planet's defense systems themselves. Nexus, you said this place adapts to those who enter it. Shows them what they need to know. Correct. Then show us everything. Not just the predecessors' knowledge, but their mistakes, their failures. Humanity didn't get where we are by being perfect. We got here by learning from every time we fell. The archive responded, flooding their neural link with millennia of data. Not just successes, but catastrophic failures, near extinctions, and desperate gambles that paid off against all odds. In many ways, it was like looking at human history in a mirror. Now this, Kira said, her armor adapting as new understanding flowed through her, this feels like something humanity can work with. The chamber's crystal walls pulsed with renewed energy as the archive recognized something in their collective consciousness, something the predecessors had engineered into humanity's very DNA, waiting for the moment it would be needed. They were about to discover why Earth's deadliest challenge hadn't been its predators or its environments, but learning to rise again after every fall. And the Void Hunters were about to learn what happens when you back Deathworld survivors into a corner. The Void Hunters never saw it coming. They had spent millennia perfecting their antimatter forms, learning to corrupt and convert any technology they encountered. But they had never faced beings who had evolved through failure rather than perfection. You know what's funny? Raj said as he interfaced with the archive's core systems, his consciousness expanding through the quantum crystal network. On Earth, some of our greatest discoveries came from mistakes. Penicillin. X-rays. Even the microwave oven. The void corruption was spreading through the lower levels, but instead of fighting it directly, the team had learned to work with it. Hassan's geological knowledge, enhanced by the archive's data, found a pattern. The crystals aren't just conducting energy, he reported, watching the network through enhanced senses. They're recording everything. Every failure, every adaptation, every change. Even the void corruption is teaching them. Maya's tactical systems merged with the archive's defenses, creating hybrid strategies that the void hunters couldn't predict. They keep trying the same attacks, expecting different results. They don't understand why their corruption isn't spreading faster. Because they're perfect, Kira realized, her xenobiologist's mind seeing the fundamental flaw in the consortium's evolution. They removed everything they saw as a weakness, including the ability to learn from failure. Through their neural link, they felt the void hunters' frustration. Every time their corruption spread, the crystal network would adapt, not by becoming immune, but by learning new ways to recover. The predecessors didn't just guide human evolution, Nexus explained, its form now fully integrated with their shared consciousness. They were looking for beings who could master the art of imperfection. The consortium sought to eliminate failure. Humanity learned to use it. The chamber shook as the void hunters launched their final assault. Dark energy poured through the archive's levels, threatening to overwhelm its defenses. But something was happening that the consortium hadn't counted on. The corrupted crystals, Hassan called out, they're not dying. They're evolving. Where void energy touched the quantum network, the crystals weren't just resisting, they were incorporating the corruption, creating new hybrid structures that could channel both light and darkness. Of course, Kira breathed. That's what the predecessors were trying to achieve. Not perfection, but true adaptation. The ability to learn from everything, even what tries to destroy you. Through their neural link, they felt the archive's approval. Humanity hadn't just passed its test, they had fulfilled its true purpose. You know what this means, Maya said, watching the void corruption patterns shift. The consortium didn't corrupt the archive. They gave it exactly what it needed, a new challenge to adapt to. Raj interfaced deeper with the core systems, understanding flowing through him. Nexus, the predecessors didn't ascend beyond physical form, did they? That's just what the consortium believed. Correct, the AI confirmed. They evolved into something far more significant, beings who could exist in all forms, adapting as needed. The archive wasn't waiting for someone worthy of their knowledge. It was waiting for someone who could teach it something new. The void corruption reached the central chamber, but instead of destruction, it triggered transformation. The quantum crystals blazed with impossible colors as they incorporated the antimatter energy, creating structures that defied conventional physics. They wanted to rewrite the rules of evolution, Kira said, watching in awe as the archive's true nature revealed itself. But they forgot the most important rule: life doesn't just find a way, it finds every way. The void hunters reeled as their corruption was not just resisted but welcomed, transformed, and reflected back at them. For the first time in millennia, they faced something their perfect forms couldn't comprehend: evolution that embraced imperfection. Through the neural link, the team felt the archive's final gift, not just knowledge, but understanding. Earth wasn't an experiment in creating the perfect species. It was a forge for creating beings who could teach the universe how to rise stronger from every fall. So, Raj said as the transformed archive pulsed with new life around them, should we tell humanity they're about to become the universe's evolutionary consultants? Maya's tactical systems were already calculating the implications. You mean tell them they get to teach advanced alien civilizations how to fail better? Pretty sure that's what we've been preparing for our entire history. As the void hunters retreated, their perfect forms undone by the very corruption they had tried to spread, the archive began transmitting its new knowledge across the galaxy. Not just the predecessors' wisdom, but humanity's greatest gift, the understanding that true evolution doesn't mean eliminating weakness, but learning to turn every weakness into a new kind of strength. The Deathworld that had shaped humanity hadn't just created survivors. It had created teachers for a universe that had forgotten how to learn from its failures. Well, Kira said, watching the quantum crystals pulse with their new hybrid energy, I guess this means humanity's first galactic export is going to be chaos theory and the scientific method? Along with our time-honored tradition of turning our worst disasters into our greatest breakthroughs, Hassan added. The archive hummed with renewed purpose, its crystal network now a fusion of all forms of evolution. Humanity had passed its test not by being perfect, but by being perfectly adaptable. And somewhere in the void between stars, the consortium faced a new reality. They had spent millennia trying to perfect life, only to be undone by beings who had mastered the art of imperfection.